Hi. Hello, Rogue. Are you ready to do book club? You're awake today and ready to record? There's Daisy Ray. Actually, Griffin's right here, too. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Happy May Day. Hi, everybody. I'm Renee from Salem Public Library, and this is, in Salem, Ohio, and this is Rogue's Reads. I was attempting to make a green screen back here for a meeting earlier. Unfortunately, I can't record the book club and use the green screen at the same time. So you got me and Rogue here. All right, and it is Friday. We are still reading The Genius Files by Dan Gutman. We're on book 2, Never Say Genius, and you can get a copy of that on Hoopla. And so you can read it yourself if you're just now joining us. We are getting towards the end of book 2. So back up a few weeks, go back to the first episode or download books 1 and 2 and read them and get caught up with us. I encourage you to read along with me. It's a great way to keep your own reading skills up and sharp while we read this adventure mystery series. Let's see, so our book, Coke and Pep McDonald are our protagonists, and they made it to Maryland, didn't they? That's where we finished up yesterday. They drove all the way, they actually made it all the way through Pennsylvania they didn't really do anything in Pennsylvania. They talked about a lot of the different places there were, but they didn't actually visit anything. Though Coke did almost die in a rest stop bathroom. Somebody left a blank piece of paper with maybe invisible ink and filled the bathroom up with some sort of poison gas. It almost strangled him or choked him. But fortunately, Coke got away, and they are back on the road to Maryland, where they are about 100 miles from Washington, D.C., so they're getting really close. You can drive that 100 miles in about an hour and a half. That's really not very far at all. So from where they started out, they're getting very close, and we are definitely getting to the end of the book. So we're going to kick off our weekend with just a couple chapters here. Let's see what they can figure out. See if you guys can... Remember, the cipher clues. It's July 3rd. Was it 2 p.m.? I think 2 p.m. is the time. And they are supposed to meet, their 3 clues were John Bull, which was the train, Greensboro lunch counter, and Star Spangled Banner. So maybe you figured out the connection between those 3 things. If you have, awesome. If not, keep following along and we will find out together. So we are on chapter 17. Y'all new to these parts? Soon after crossing the Maryland state line, Dr. McDonald pulled off the highway and drove a few miles to Yogi Bear's Jellystone Park Campground Resort in Williamsport, Maryland. They've stayed at a Yogi Bear before. Mrs. McDonald checked in at the office while the kids checked out the pool. It was an uneventful night. For Coke and Pep, that's probably a good thing. In the morning, Dr. McDonald said he was in the mood for poached eggs, and they didn't have any eggs in the RV. So they hit the road looking for a place that served a decent breakfast. And it wasn't long before they came upon the Bluebell. One of those diners that was designed to look like it was from the 1950s. There was a line of stools at the counter, silver, chrome, and mirrors all over the place. Oh, Daisy Ray is behind me. A big jukebox was playing Great Balls of Fire in the corner, alongside a glass case filled with cakes and pies that spun around slowly. Mrs. McDonald picked up a few travel brochures from a rack on the wall. A sign said, "Seat yourself," so the McDonald slid into a booth near the window. Coke was immediately absorbed in reading the menu, which was filled with Maryland trivia. Soon the waitress, a bleached blonde wearing a pink skirt, a little pink cat, and a lot of eye makeup, came roller skating over to the table. "Howdy, folks," she said in a deep southern accent. "Y'all new to these parts?" "We're on a cross-country trip," Mrs. McDonald told her. "My sister's getting married in Washington the day after tomorrow." "Well, ain't that sweet," said the waitress. "So what would you folks like this morning? We got eggs, bacon, sausage, muffins." I'll have 2 poached eggs on toast, said Dr. McDonald. Adam and Eve on a raft, the waitress hollered to a guy in the kitchen. And coffee, please, added Dr. McDonald. Cup of joe, hollered the waitress. Pep kicked Coke under the table, and he shot her a nasty glare before looking back at the menu. I'll have a Western omelet with French fries, said Mrs. McDonald. 1 cowboy with spurs, hollered the waitress. And no onions, please. Don't cry over it, hollered the waitress. On second thought, said Mrs. McDonald, can I get an English muffin instead of the French fries? 86 spurs, hollered the waitress. Burn the British. Pep kicked Coke under the table again. Hey, stop it! Coke barked at his sister. Stop what? Asked Mrs. McDonald. She's kicking me. Stop kicking your brother. I'm not kicking him. How about you, little lady? Asked the waitress. What do you have? I'll have waffles, Pep said. 2 checkerboards, hollered the waitress. And butter, please, with cow paste and a glass of milk. 1 moo juice. And what about you, hon? She asked Coke. Do you have any cold cereal? He asked. Sorry, sugar, the waitress replied. We're fresh out. Then I'll have soft-boiled eggs. Drown the kids, hollered the waitress. Do you have rye toast? Asked Coke. Whiskey down. And a glass of orange juice, too, Coke added. Hug 1, the waitress hollered. Anything else? Dr. McDonald had been staring at the waitress ever since they came in. Say, haven't I met you somewhere before? He asked. You look familiar to me. Afraid not, hun, she said. I sure would have remembered a handsome fellow like you. Pep kicked Coke under the table again. When he looked at her angrily, she was mouthing the word, Maya. Coke looked at the waitress, and she winked at him. Pep was right. Under that blonde wig and all that makeup, it was Maya. I'll be back in a jiff with your grub, the waitress, that is Maya, said. I gotta go to the bathroom, Coke said. Me too, said Pep, getting up. The twins slid out of the booth and hustled over to a hallway where the restrooms were located. Maya was waiting for them with open arms. What are you doing here? Pep asked as they hugged. Right now, I'm serving breakfast, she said. Her southern accent was gone. The short-order cook came over from the kitchen. When he got close enough, it was obvious that it was Bones. How did you know we were going to stop at this diner? Coke asked. We always know where you are, Bones replied seriously. Listen, we need to make this quick. We've intercepted a message. Something bad is going to happen in Washington on the 4th of July. That's the day after tomorrow, Maya said. It's going to be something big. Are you sure it's not the 3rd of July? Pep asked. No, it's the 4th. Bones replied. Our aunt is getting married on the 4th of July, Pep said. We're going to be there. What's going to happen? We have reason to believe there's going to be some kind of a robbery, said Bones. You mean somebody's going to try to steal, like, the Declaration of Independence or something? Coke asked. It could be the Declaration. It could be the doorknob to the White House. Or it could be the president's dog, Bones said. It could be anything. We don't know yet. There's a lot worth stealing in Washington. Chances are it will be a symbol of America, Maya added. That's what these creeps want. What should we do? Coke asked. Keep your eyes and ears open, Bone advised. You know what these people are capable of, Maya said ominously. They tried to kill us in Chicago, in Cleveland, and at an amusement park, Pep said. They used poison gas on my brother at a rest stop in Pennsylvania yesterday. Yeah, where were you? Coke asked. We could have used your help at all those places. We had another mission, Bones said mysteriously, but we'll have your back in Washington, I promise. Hey, where's my food? A guy shouted in the background. I've been waiting for half an hour. Coming right up, sugar, Maya yelled back. We have to go back to work, Bones said. CNDC. The twins went back to their table where their parents were looking over the travel brochures they had picked up. The world's largest rubber band ball is in Chevy Chase, Maryland, Mrs. McDonald said. It weighs over 3,000 pounds, and it's 15 feet in circumference. Excuse me. Actually, Mom, that used to be the world's largest rubber band ball, Coke informed her. A guy in Southern California made one that's even bigger. How do you know that? Pep asked incredulously. Doesn't everybody know that? Coke replied. I thought it was common knowledge. There's a giant fiberglass pineapple in Baltimore, Mrs. McDonald said. That could be interesting to see. How about we skip all that stuff and go straight to Washington this afternoon, suggested Dr. McDonald. I mean, Which would you rather see, the Wright brothers' first plane at the National Air and Space Museum or a rubber band ball? The family debated that question for several minutes until Maya came roller skating back to the table carrying a big tray full of food. "Enjoy, y'all," she said with a wink. Everyone dug into their breakfast. Coke tapped his egg with a spoon to crack the shell. When he peeled off the top of it, this was printed in blue on the surface of the egg. How? How do you get ink inside of an egg? Oh, and it says it's just letters. DMOHFYNEEHNUBTELIGPLPAT. Oh no, Coke said involuntarily. "What's the matter, dear?" asked his mother. Nothing, Coke replied. I think my eggs might be hard-boiled. We could send them back. Forget it. Coke kicked Pep under the table and turned the egg slightly so she could see the letters that were printed on it. Her eyes widened. Some ciphers take days, weeks, or even months to figure out. Others can be deciphered almost instantly by someone who knows what they're doing. Pep took one look at this and knew the solution right away. It was simple. I don't know. This is not something I'm good at, but here's the cipher if anybody wants to try to figure it out before we reveal it. All right. She took the first letter of the first word, D, and then the first letter of the second word, U. Then she took the second letter of the first word, M, and the second letter of the second word, B. Dumb. Pep looked at the egg and continued like that, remembering the letters in her head. It wasn't long before she had the whole message. Dumbo, the flying elephant. Did anybody ever hear of Dumbo the flying elephant? Pep asked the family as she ate her waffles. Dumbo was an old Disney movie, Mrs. McDonald said. Why do you ask? Oh, I don't know, Pep said. It just popped into my head. I never saw that movie, Dr. McDonald said, but I seem to recall that Dumbo could fly by flapping his ears or something. I need to go to the bathroom, Coke said. Me too. What, again? Said Mrs. McDonald. The twins got up and rushed over to the bathrooms. Pep caught Maya's eye and signaled for her to come over. Did you or Bones hide a secret message in my brother's egg? Pep asked her. What? No, of course not. Why? Somebody has been sending us these messages. John Bull, the Star-Spangled Banner, Greensboro Lunch Counter, and now Dumbo the Flying Elephant. All right, did you guys figure out the connection yet? Don't forget the one that said July 3rd, 2 o'clock, added Coke. That's tomorrow. I assure you that Bones and I have nothing to do with any of these messages, Maya said. But all of them must tie in with each other somehow. What could they possibly have in common, Pep asked her. What could Dumbo the Flying Elephant possibly have in common with anything? Somebody's playing games with you, Maya said, but we're going to figure out who, and we're going to stop them. What concerns me is that our information says something will happen on July 4th, and your information says July 3rd. You kids better go back. Your parents will be suspicious. Coke and Pep hurried back to their table and finished their breakfast quietly. When their parents went to pay the check, Coke examined his eggshell one more time. There was no writing on the shell itself. Hey, how is it possible to write on the inside of an egg without leaving a mark on the shell? He whispered to his sister. It isn't possible, Pep told him, but it is possible to write on the shell with special invisible ink that seeps through to the inside. It's an old trick that spies use. How do you know that? Doesn't everybody know that? She replied. I thought it was common knowledge. Dr. McDonald got back on Route 270 South and drove about 33 miles until he reached the exit for I-495, the Capitol Beltway. From there, it was just 11 miles to Cherry Hill Park, a campground in College Park, Maryland. This is it, guys, Dr. McDonald said. The end of the line. What do you mean, Dad? Pep asked. We've driven all the way across the country. He told her, we did it. Welcome to Washington, D.C. This doesn't look like Washington, Coke said, looking out the window. Some kids were playing shuffleboard. We're 10 miles outside of the city, Mrs. McDonald explained. It'll be hard to park the RV in D.C. We'll park it here and take the Washington subway into the city. So we'll have all afternoon in the nation's capital, Dr. McDonald said, clapping his hand. What do you want to see? The Washington Monument, the Air and Space Museum, Ford's Theater, the Spy Museum? The Spy Museum! Pep shouted, the Spy Museum! does seem like a good choice for them. How long is this chapter? You know what? This next chapter is pretty long. Oh yeah, it's actually very long. And since it is Friday, I'm going to end things right there. So a little short today, but that's all right. It's Friday afternoon. And, well, hopefully the weather clears up a little bit for the weekend. It's looking a little dreary out there right now. But we have made it to Washington, D.C. to the Spy Museum. So think on those clues. Dumbo, John Bull, Greensboro Lunch Counter, and the Star Spangled Banner. See if you can come up with what connects those four things. And if you do, you'll figure out where they're going to head after the Spy Museum. So we will pick up on Monday and find out what happens at the Spy Museum. I've never been to Washington, D.C. I know, which is kind of sad because we don't really live that far away. But now I want to go and check out the Spy Museum too because it sounds really cool. I will see you guys on Monday. Rogue is actually right here in front of me. You can probably see his tail in the camera. It is. So Rogue, say bye. Yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants his head scratched. And I will see you guys on Monday. I miss you. I hope to see everybody very, very soon. Bye. Thanks.